needs to be weaned. Your soul isn't physical. It can't be speaking about physical things. It's speaking about a spiritual weaning, a spiritual process, spiritual weaning. What is this all about? If the soul needs to be weaned, what does it mean? It means that like a baby, as a baby is dependent, attached to his mother's milk, our souls easily become attached to things. Our soul finds attachments in this world. Bound to it, gets bound to the world, gets bound to something in this world. And it's spiritually attached. The soul so easily gets dependent on things in this world. And the more attached you are to things in this world, the more subject your soul becomes to the nature of this world, to the whims and ups and downs of the world. The more in bondage it becomes to the way the world goes. For instance, you want examples of what your soul is attached to? Not that all these things are for everybody. Everyone has their own thing. But you'll most likely find it in here, your milk bottle, or something that you're attached to. For some, their soul is attached to, there is a dependency on people. You make people your idols, or you make people your devils. You can grow dependent on people just as others are obsessed with drugs, or so you can get so dependent on that, your soul becomes joined in the wrong way. Some of you who are not married, you can let a person become your bottle. The dream of being married becomes your bottle. Some of you live with the fear of not being accepted by people. You need acceptance by people. It's your milk. You need it. If you're deprived of it, you go down. Some of you, the milk is that of money. Living your life for money. You have a lot of money, you feel better. You lose money, you feel horrible. It's like your milk. For some, alcohol. Addiction, same thing. Addiction, needing something. And when it's not there, they cry out. Drugs becomes another one. Medication becomes another addiction, another bottle, another attachment. Smoking. For some, it can be a doctrine, it could be a movement, it could be where you get so caught up that becomes your thrill, and when it goes down, when something goes down, you lose everything, your joy goes. For some, it's comfort, I want this lifestyle, and when that goes, you're miserable. It goes up and down according to what's happening in the world. For some people, it's their appearance. And some people, that is their thing they live on, and when they start getting older, they start losing their joy. Losing their peace. For some, it's recognition. As long as you want praise, you want recognition of people. If you don't get it, you start withering away. For some, it's lust. For some, it's pornography. It becomes a bondage, becomes a milk, becomes a thing that you cover up. People drink and people get into the pornography, also to cover up their problems, to make them feel better. It's an emptiness that's there. For some, it's actually eating. Eating disorders are also, it's not just based on the food, it's comforting the soul, trying to comfort the soul. For some, it's the internet or your iPhone. If you can't get away from it, you're addicted. If you can't get away from the internet, if you can't get away from your iPhone, if you can't get away from being plugged in, there is an addiction there. That means your soul has become attached to something. As much as anything. They actually did studies. They found out that incoming emails can trigger a pleasure release in your brain. That's the same part that's involved with drugs. And you go around, you see how plugged in everybody is. I've been at meetings around a table, and several of people are busy doing this. People go out to eat and they're doing this. People in the same house doing this. For some, it's television. Your soul can get addicted to television. It becomes your milk. For some, it's workaholics. That becomes, you need to do it to have meaning. For some, it's the identity of being a victim. And some people, you think they're miserable. They're really not. They like being a victim. And if you try to help them, they don't want to be helped. Because it's their thing. It's their comfort. Their assurance, it gives them comfort that they're fine. Some are addicted to busyness. As long as you're busy, and you can't handle when things are not busy. All these things, in some way, are dependencies that the soul gets hooked into. Bondage. And that's the problem, because that's why addictions come. But it's part of human nature. A baby nurses at its mother's breast with a bottle, sucking, because it's trying to fulfill a hunger that it has. The hunger is real and the hunger is healthy. But the easiest way for the baby to fulfill it is to suck on its mother. So that's the same way dependencies happen, because there is an hunger, there is an emptiness in one's soul. Because the only thing that can fill your soul is God. So if that's not happening, there's always going to be this hunger and a dependency and the danger of getting caught up and bound by things. And if your soul isn't weaned, that's where it comes in now, you're going to be continually joining yourself to one thing or another. Quick fixes. Things that look like they're an answer, but they end up being a bondage. Things that seem to bring happiness and they bring more sorrow. That's the way it works. You know, they have a program on television that focuses on addictions. And then one woman, you wouldn't believe what people are addicted to. One woman was addicted to eating toilet paper. For real. One woman was addicted to drinking household detergents. For real. And it has nothing to do with the thing. It has to do with a problem in the soul. The problem is to be bound. To be bound is bondage. When you are joined to something, when your soul is attached, that means your joy is bound. You know, your well-being is bound. Your peace is bound. If it goes up, good. If it goes down, you're down. If you're bound to people, if they like you, you're up. If they come against you, you're down. If you're bound to money, your stock goes up, you're happy. Stock goes down, you're miserable. One man, you know, in this economic collapse, one man had billions and billions of dollars, and he lost most of it. I think it was the Madoff scheme. He ended up with only a few $1 billion left. And he killed himself. He had a few $1 billion left, and he killed himself. Why? It wasn't about the money, it was about the dependency. You can tell if your soul is dependent. If a few things change in your life, you lose your peace. Someone talks against you, a few people talk against you, you lose all your peace. It reveals you're still dependent on these things instead of Him. Addicted.